And Yaakov Brachot, you can take that Gemara, by the way, since I'm not here. 62b1. Okay? And it says Tanya, you should be marked. It should be marked. There you go. Okay? It says Tanya, Tatna Braita. Ben Azai Omer. Ben Azai said, Al kol mishkav shechav chutz min karka. Okay, we're reviewing this, I guess, because we did this before. Lie upon any couch except for the ground, lest you take sick from the cold. Right? We did that. Why am I still here? Oh no, we did all this. Okay, I apologize. We're at the other part. The Gemara records, presents an incident with Rav Safra, the bottom. Okay, Rav Safra. So it says, Rav Safra al lebekise. Rav Safra entered the latrine to attend to his needs. Ata Rav Ava nachar le'abava. So Rav Ava came and coughed on the door, signaling his intent to enter. Amalei, Rav Safra said to him, Le'ol mar, let the master enter. Bata denafik Amalei. When the Rav Safra emerged, Rav Papa said to him reproachfully, Ad hashta lo ayala l'seir. You have not yet gone up to Seir. Yet you have learned the practices of Seir. In other words, you are as immodest in the latrine as they. So what happens here? We have in number 11. For you should have not spoken to me. That's what Rashi says. Since it is immodest to speak while in the latrine. Rather, you should have informed me of your presence by coughing in reply to my cough. You shouldn't have said come in. Or by making some other sound, but not by speaking. Seir was the land of the Edomites, who generally behaved immodestly in the latrine, I guess by speaking to each other. Again, it would be interesting if today's bathrooms are not the latrines of yesteryear. So, yet, while most people do not speak in the bathroom, that's just a general thing. But would this apply? Would we apply this logic of it's immodest to speak in the bathroom when you're doing your business? I think most people would agree with that because you might be in your own world.
There was no stall; it was just one big open.
Right. But the question is now, when you're washing your hands, is that with the same thing? In other words, while you're in the room, what does it matter? Would it matter? And again, we're flushing our toilets when we finish. So it's not even anything there. Unless maybe hit the floor. I had to go, what's going on? But for the most part, you should be good, right? So it should be clean there. So that would be the question. If today, I think most people say today our bathrooms are not of that ilk, and that's why people aren't as strict. But nonetheless, Rav Abba was saying that Rav Savra had abandoned the modest behavior of the Persians, amongst whom he had dwelt in Babylonia, for the immodest behavior of the Edomites. Maharsha wonders why Rav Abba did not identify the Edomite land as Edom, a name that is in far more prevalent use than Seir. He suggests that Rav Abba intended a play on words, since the letters of the word Seir are identical to those of the word for goat, Seir. Rav Abba was warning Rav Safra that his Seirin immodesty might invite the attention of the Seirim, the goat demons that frequent the latrine. Oh, so you have a whole bunch of things going on. Okay, so how are you? So love Achi Tanan. Oh, very good, thank you. Okay, I owe you. Okay, love Achi Tanan. Have we not learned thus?
You want fries on the side?
There you go. Have we not learned thus in the Mishnah? Medora, is that right? I skipped it. Okay. Medora Haita Sham Ubeki Seiv Shakavod. There was a bonfire there and a latrine of honor. What does that mean? He says this bonfire was in the portion of the temple fire chamber in the Beit Hamoked, that was within the temple courtyard. The latrine of honor was located together with a mikvah in a tunnel built beneath the temple. The bonfire was intended for those Kohanim who, having defecated, were obliged to immerse themselves in the mikvah. They would warm themselves by the fire after immersing. The temple fire chamber was located in the northeastern wall of the temple courtyard. It was built half in and half out of the courtyard. By the way, for all those who know, what's the name of that thing that the kids were watching? Harry Potter.
Oh.
Okay, the Temple of Chamber. Oh, it sounds like that. The Temple of Fire. They had all. I think that J.K. Rowling's.
Okay, I didn't.
And there's a lot of references. So I think that she probably heard a share, or she got some references from somewhere else.
Be careful what you say.
It's very possible. I'm telling you. She seemed to. A lot of the terminology was found in her books.
Okay.
So it'd be interesting. She's not Jewish, don't worry. And I don't think J.K. Rowling says it my share.
I don't think that's her real name either, right?
I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so it says, and this was its particular honor. It possessed a door. Mitzao na'ul v'yadua sheyesh sham adam. So if it was found closed, it was known that there was a person there. Mitzao petuach, if it was found open, if the door was found open, v'yadua she'ein sham adam. So it was known that there was no person there. This limited the need for to speak in the latrine, and thus preserved the honor of those using it. Alma. So we see lav arach arahu. We see that it's not proper to speak while in the latrine. So why then did you speak? Simple question. So he explains, Ritva takes a different approach to explaining this incident. He holds that Rav Abba was not objecting to Rav Safra's having spoken, but to his having invited Rav Abba into the latrine while he was yet with it. For we see from the Mishnah in Talmud that it is not proper to enter the latrine while it is occupied by another. The Gemara too understands the Gemara as the Ritva does and proves the point from the manner in which this instance is recounted in Talmud, in the Gemara Talmud, where the Gemara explicitly states that he should not have invited him to enter. The Gemara accordingly states that Rashi's interpretation was not actually written by Rashi, but was erroneously inserted into his commentary by one of the students. Okay, a third interpretation of this incident, which accords with the variant reading in Talmud, holds that it was Rav Safra who reproached Rav Abba. Rav Safra told Rav Abba to enter only because Rav Abba feared that Rav Abba was in danger. However, when he emerged and discovered that there had been no danger, he approached Rav Abba. He felt that upon seeing the closed door, Rav Abba should not have even coughed, but should have simply waited for him to emerge. As regards the halacha, the Ramah rules that one is forbidden to enter the latrine while another is within, and that one may not speak while within the latrine. Okay. So again, you have to figure out if that would apply today or not. Certainly in our bathrooms today, we have multiple stalls. It's not really a problem. The doors are shut. But you should, and if you go to some yeshivot, you'll notice on the door, see, in a normal bathroom door, there's a little gap.
Yeah.
So you can see through very quickly. Somebody's there, somebody's not, besides having to push the door. Sorry?
Before you push it.
Right. And the yeshiva, like in Chaim Berlin, they put up a piece of, and I think even here in South Bend Yeshiva, they put up a covering so you can't see inside the door.
Yeah.
That way, total privacy. And it could be coming again from this sort of thing where we want the modesty. It's a modesty issue.
But it should be like on the airplane, when you lock it, it says occupied.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that would accomplish everything.
Correct.
All right. Speaking of airports, yeah, I know they used to have the 10-cent pay toilets. Remember those?
Yes.
I don't think they do that way, but
Baruch Hashem.
problem when you lock the thing on the inside, the little thing on the outside shows it'll say occupied, just like on the plane itself.
Right. But so I think all this is coming from this sort of system here. Okay. So the Gemara explains Rav Safra's actions. For who Savra Masukanhu, however, I just said that. I didn't. Okay, no, I didn't. He thought that Rav Ava was in danger, he therefore spoke. The Tanya, for it has been taught in the Braita, Rav and Shem Gamel Omer, Amud HaChozer, maybe Damli De Hadroken, that a forced back discharge of excrement brings a person to suffer from dropsy. which is a bad disease. A forced back stream of urine in the urinary duct brings a person to suffer from jaundice. Rav Safra feared that the person knocking was in these straits and wished to secure him. He therefore told him to enter. And he says that dropsy is a sickness that causes one's stomach to swell. Then he notes that the danger posed by forcing back a discharge implies only after the first discharge. Okay, fine. So he was afraid of that the person was in health danger.
That's why I invited him in.
Yeah, that's why he told him to come in. Because he said, okay, you have to do what you have to do. Okay. The Gemara recounts an incident in which Rabbi Elazar was saved from danger that lurked in the latrine. Rabbi Elazar al-Beiki said, Rabbi Elazar entered the latrine. Atahu parsa'ad dachke. A certain Roman came and pushed him aside. So he says, he tells us, although parsa'a means Persian, we have used Roman. In accordance with the various versions of this incident found in the Yalkut Shimoni, this accordance with Rabbi Elazar's forthcoming exposition, which identifies this person as an Edomite. Persians are not offspring of Edom, Romans are. Furthermore, Persians customarily practiced modesty in the latrine. It is thus unlikely that a Persian would have entered the latrine while it was occupied by an other.
Right, the Persians were modest. They came up with a flushing system.
They did?
They had very clean bathrooms.
Okay, so there you go. So we have the Persians to thank.
Built on their system, I think, to get rid of the excrement and the whole.
What they had running water?
They had a lot of water.
Okay.
Elements.
That's interesting. Okay.
They used.
Good. So come Rabbi Elazar v'nafak. So Rabbi Elazar got up and left, and he said, however, he recognized that God would not have brought him this suffering upon him for no purpose. He therefore waited to see what would transpire, and subsequently witnessed the death of the Roman. He then understood that the Roman had been especially sent to rescue him from the snake. Okay, fine. So a snake then came and ripped into the Roman's rectum, killing him. Not a nice death. Karei ale Rabbi Elazar. So Rabbi Elazar started the following verse regarding this miraculous intervention. V'yatein adam tachtercha, and I will put a person in your place. And that's from Isaiah, to receive the danger that has been struck you. Al tikri adam elo edom. Don't read it as a person. Don't read it as Adam person. Rather read it as Edomite. This prophecy was fulfilled for me, since a Roman and Edomite was killed in my stead. There you go. So the Gemara now presents an incident in which King Shaul's life was preserved as a result of his modesty during defecation. King Shaul entered a cave in which David and his men were concealed. David's men urged him to kill King Saul, but instead David merely cut a corner from his garment as he relieved himself. After Shaul left, David emerged from his hiding place and confronted him with the fact that he spared life. He said, he said to kill you, and it protected you. Okay, and so what happens? The Gemara says, the verse should have said, should the verse say, and he said, it should amarti mi baile. It should say I said, right? Not he said. He's talking. V'tachas, and furthermore should have said it protected you. V'chasti mi baile. It should say I protected you. Why did David speak in the third person? So Amar Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar answered, Amar David Shaul. David said to Shaul, it was he, Hashem, who said to kill you. In the Torah, ben harigata, according to the Torah, you were worthy of death. Sharei rodefata, because you are a rodef, you are a pursuer. The Torah amra, and the Torah, because you're pursuing me, right? Shaul was pursuing David. He wanted to kill David for any reason. He wasn't a rebel. I mean, if you look back in the story, all he did was when Shmuel anointed David as a new king. That's when the Ruach HaKodesh was removed from Shaul, replaced with a Ruach Ra'ah, which we normally say is an evil spirit or insanity, whatever the case is going to be. And so what he does is he now realizes David is going to take over, or somebody's going to take over. He realizes David, and now he tries to kill David at every opportunity. So if that's the case, he's a rodef. And the Torah Amra, and the Torah says, Ba lahargecha, hashkem lahargo. When somebody comes to kill you, you rise up to kill him first. Ela tzniut hayta b'cha, but because you were tznius, however your modesty, he chasa alecha, that is what protected you. Thus, the reason David spoke in the third person is because he was referring to Hashem, who mandated King Shaul HaMelech's death, and Shaul attributed, and Shaul's attribute of mercy is what saved his life. So the Maharshah's second explanation, according to this explanation, tachas is being used in the third person, feminine form, since niyut, modesty, is a noun of a feminine gender. Alternatively, the phrase v'tachas alecha is addressed to Shaul HaMelech, who protected himself through this attribute of modesty. The verse would thus be translated as you protected yourself, with them being an example of the second person masculine form. So you're seeing all the grammar you're learning in Hebrew on Monday is helping you here. So what is tachas? Does it mean you were protected, or tachas it was, right?
I found going back the Persians with the modesty. Yeah. So in brachas also on Chesam and Beis,
right?
It says Amar Rabbi Gamliel l'shosh dvarim oyev ani es hartziim.
All right.
And one of them is they're modest in the bathroom.
Correct.
The Sifsei Chacham brings down that the Persian privies themselves were constructed in a fashion that quickly removed any feces from sight.
Good.
So they had a flushing system.
There you go. There you go. Thank you very much. You have to go back to the very beginning of Ein Yaakov to hear those shir.
I guess
it's a long time ago. It's a long time ago. I remember the Gemara, but I remember it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay. What time is it? Okay, still have time. Okay, so yeah. The Gemara now discusses the results of a similar encounter between David HaMelech and again Shaul HaMelech. After sparing Shaul's life a second time, David said to him, Im Hashem hisitcha bi yarach mincha. If Hashem incited you against me, let God accept as an offering my prayer to avert your wrath. Amar Elazar, Rabbi Elazar said, Amar le'ekadosh baruch hu l'David. At this, Hashem said to David, Meisit kerili, do you then call me an insider? You want to start saying, I'm the one that's causing trouble. That's very nice. Hare ani machshilcha. B'davar she'afilu tinokot shebayit rabban yodeim oto. Oh, if you're going to call me an insider, guess what? I'm going through incitement. I will cause you to stumble regarding a thing that even school children know. In other words, you're going to make such a dumb mistake that it's not going to be funny. Tichtiv, as written, Kiti said, Rosh b'nei Yisrael, when you take the account of the people, let each man give an atonement for a soul, which means that they're going to give you a half a shekel. This verse teaches that one may not take a census of Jews by counting heads, but only by counting tokens. Thus you have not one, not two, not three, all these things, where Hoshira Mecha, Rechanesecha, all these things have 10 verses, 10 words to get to 10 people, because you don't count by head. Okay. Miyad, immediately what happens, and by the way, it says if you do count by head, so there will be a plague. That's the problem. Miyad v'yamod Satan al Yisrael. So immediately Hashem prepared for David to be incited to contravene this commandment as it states, and an insider rose against Israel. And he says in 39, an insider refers to Satan, who was functioning in his role as the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination in which he incites man to sin. God allowed Satan to incite David in punishment for, he's referring to God as an inciter. And, okay, fine. So, by the way, this is for all these people listening, because I have some Christians out there listening, Satan does not mean Satan. It means the divine accuser. That's all it does. And we're seeing very strongly that God has to allow Satan to do his job. He doesn't have power. He's not in fights with God. There's no such concept when it comes to Judaism. They all have to, the Satan is just like any other malach out there. He has a job to do. He does it well, and that's the end of it. Okay. So what happens? And it says, and it's written regarding the insider, that Vayaset David Bahem Lemor Lech Menei Et Israel. And he incited David concerning the Jews, saying, "Go count Israel." David heeded his beguilements and took a census of his people. Kevan the Maninhu lo shakal minei kofer. And when he counted them, he did not take an atonement for them. He did not take from them atonement in the form of a token. And yeah, well, right, but it doesn't, right, half shekel. Dichtiv vayitein Hashem dever b'Yisrael me'aboker v'yad 8 moed. As it says, Hashem put a plague among Israel from morning until the appointed time. Evidently, King David HaMelech did not take a shekel. The forewarned plague therefore arrived. He said in 41, for David HaMelech was under the mistaken impression that the command in Shemot, in Exodus, was for that time only, but not meant for future generations. And there are others who have different explanations, but that's what he likes. That's what our school likes. Okay. Thus, what Hashem promised came to pass. David erred with regard to a well-known law, the one that prohibits the direct counting of Jews, and his error resulted in a plague. So he says, Ben Yehoiada explains that the Jews were not being punished for David's sin, but had committed sin on their own, for which they deserved to be chastised. Nevertheless, their suffering represented a penalty for King David, since it came at his hands through his wrongful words. As it says in Gemara in Shabbos, benefit is imparted through one who is meritorious, and harm through one who is guilty. King David's guilt in this matter caused harm to be administered through him. You can also ask a question, by the way, before we go further, or maybe we'll stop here because it doesn't stop at all. The one question you could ask is, okay, so David HaMelech made that mistake. Good. Everybody should have known that you don't count people like we don't by 1, 2, 3. So if that's the case, why didn't Yoav, I think Yoav, what was his captain at that point? Why didn't Yoav count with a shekel? In other words, I'm given an order. Count the people. So it's simple. I just count. I say, everybody give me a shekel, and I make the count. Half shekel.
Count the half shekel.
I count the half shekels. Why do I have to go 1, 2, 3? I'm the census taker. In other words, you're the boss. You tell me, find out how many people are there. So you don't care how I do it, right? You gave me an order. So now I should understand from that order to do it. Furthermore, when people are coming and says, how many people are in your house? So what are you talking about? How many people? What do you want to know for? Well, we have to have a census. The census is you give me half a shekel, and I don't have the shekel right now. Leave me alone. But or whatever the case is going to be, everybody really should have been responsible for that. Maybe that's which is why the Ramban will say it wasn't because of that. Rather, the reason was because David was counting below the age of 20. He's counting everybody. And that was a problem. So again, it's a big argument as to really what David's sin was and how the count was made. And everybody really is part and parcel of that, which is why I think that you'd have to look and see, really what did bring the plague. What were the Jews doing wrong? Why was David put in this situation? Why did he call God an insider? And at the end, by the way, when did he call God an insider? When he's not yet king. Think about that. I said something 20 years ago, or whatever it was, 2 years ago, and you're bringing that up, really, God? Really? Come on. Give me a break, man. You're bringing something I said up because I'm having a hard time and this guy's chasing me and trying to kill me. So what should I say to you? And you see that what we say is recorded forever. See what I'm saying? And literally recorded forever. It's online. But it's we have to be very, very careful with that, because years later, it will come back to bite us. And we don't even know it. I don't think David said, "Oh, you remember? You know when I know it's chasnus. I called God and Seder, and He therefore said, I'm going to show you, make a work mistake, and that's why I made it." I don't think he had that in mind. I really don't. But who knows? Maybe David Melch did. Okay, we'll have to stop here though.
Yeah.